All right, students, welcome back. We're working on 4.3 today. And what we're going to do is we're going to take notes on page 122. So page 122, we're going to start to take notes. And what we're doing is today we are going to be solving quadratics with using roots. Solving quadratics using roots. So what do I mean? Let's use this for example one. Let's say you have x squared equals 25. Now, how do you solve this? Well, you need to get x equals, right? So the way you do it is you would go, your first step is to square root both sides, because the square root of x squared is x. And the square root of 25 turns out to be 5. Now, here's a catch. Whenever you're doing square roots, you're going to have two answers. Always have two answers. Always have two answers when you're square rooting. So here we've got x equals 5. And I could look in my calculator and I could do 5 times 5 and I get 25, sure enough. So, but what if I had negative 5 times negative 5? That is also 25. So x equals 5, x also equals negative 5. Always have two answers when we're dealing with squares. So an easy way to write this would just be x equals plus or minus 5. So there's my two answers, x equals positive 5 and x equals negative 5. Okay. All right, let's take it up a notch. Example 2. What if I have 4x squared equals, 4x squared minus, man, why am I not using a pencil? 4x squared minus 49 equals 0. So how do I solve this? Well, the first step, I'm going to move the 49 over here. Now I have 4x squared equals 49. Now I still have to get the x by itself, so I'm going to divide by 4 on both sides. I'm left with x squared equals 49 fourths, right? Because 49 doesn't divide evenly into 4. Now, the next step, and you'll see me always rewriting this so that you could see the different steps. Step 1, step 2, and then step 3, and do a square root of both of them. And so this becomes x. And then once I put the square root here, go ahead and put a plus or minus. Square root of 49 over 4. Now, I go back a couple pages and I look at my magic numbers, and I see that 49 is one of my magic numbers. Sweet. So this 49 right here, the square root of 49 is actually 7. And I also notice that the square root of 4 is 2. So that's my answer. X equals plus or minus 2. Remember, two answers. I have two answers. All right. Let's do one that doesn't come out so evenly. How about this one? 2x squared minus 54 equals 0. So let's add 54 to both sides. I get 2x squared equals 54. I'm going to divide both sides by 2 because I'm trying to get my x independent. I have x squared equals 27. Now I'm going to square root both sides. And I have x equals plus or minus, and then 27 is the square root of 9 times the square root of 3. And what I notice is that the square root of 9 is a magic number. That's 3. So I get x equals plus or minus 3 times the square root of 3, right? I pull that 3 out. I'm left with the square root of 3. All right. Well, let's see here. Let's go ahead and start doing some homework. So there's the basics. There's the basics on how you do it. There's your notes. Let's get in here and start doing some homework. I'm going to use a pencil so I can erase. Minus 49, minus 4. Oh, what a great one to start on. Good, I didn't give you an example of one of these. So let's check this out. X squared equals negative 49. So in order to get the x by itself, I have to square root both sides. Let's just go ahead and rewrite it. Square root both sides. Oh no, I have a negative in here. I cannot, there is no number that exists multiplied by itself that equals a negative 49. Not a single one. 7 times 7 is positive 49. Negative 7 times negative 7 is positive 49. So this has no solution. It actually has no real solution. We'll get into imaginary numbers at some point, but there's no real solution. You cannot have the square root of a negative. Okay. Let's go over here. X squared plus 6 equals 6. So my first step, subtract 6. X squared equals 0. Okay. Square root both sides. X equals plus or minus 0. Wait, Mr. Blue, I thought you said they all had two answers. Well, it does. It's a positive 0 and negative 0, right? Oh, I guess there's no such thing as a positive or negative 0. Anyways, there's your answer. X equals 0. All right, number 5. Add 72 to both sides. And I have 2x squared equals 72. Then I'm going to divide both sides by 2. I get x squared equals, I think it might be 36. Let's see, 72 divided by 2 is 36. Squared equals 36. I square both sides and I get x equals plus or minus 6. X equals plus or minus 6. So hopefully you're getting the hang of this. Let's do a few more. Plus 49. I have 8x squared equals 200. Divided by 8. I believe that's 25. 200 divided by 8. 5. So now I square them both. And I get x equals plus or minus 5. All right, I'm going to let you do a couple of these, and I'm going to put them down here. So let's go minus 9. So I have 25x squared equals negative 9 divided by 25. I have x squared equals negative 9 over 25. Now I take the square root of both. Oh gosh, I'm not even showing you this one. You know what? Let's start all over. Sorry. Okay. Subtract 9 from both sides. 25x squared equals negative 9. divide by 25 on both sides. I have x squared equals negative 9 over 25. X squared, so I square root both sides. Oh, ding, 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 ding. I cannot have the square root of a negative number. It doesn't exist. There is no such thing. No solution. Okay. Oh, great. Got some more. Oh, fun. Okay. Finish those up. And here's one I didn't show you how to do. This one is all about steps and order. What steps to do in what order. So what we have to get rid of first is we have to get rid of this 16. So we're going to divide by 16 on both sides. And then we have x minus 3 squared equals 25 over 16. Now, x minus 3, this is a unit that's squared. So in order to get this x by itself, I have to first get the square root of it. So the square root of this would be x minus 3 plus or minus, oh, this is nice. What's the square root of 25? That's 5. What's the square root of 16? Well, that's 4. Now, I'm not done because I still have this negative 3 is attached to the x. So have you noticed how I'm going one step at a time? And hopefully these steps aren't too confusing, but you need to get, so this is how you do the steps. This is the order of the steps. And here's our last step is we add 3. So we have x equals 3 plus or minus 5 fourths. So you see that when I added the 3, it comes to the outside of this plus or minus. So I have 3 plus or minus 5 fourths because I already did the plus or minus. So my two answers are 3 plus 5 fourths and 3 minus 5 fourths. Those are my two answers. All right, let's check this one out. You know what? Let's do this one. So here, so this one, you're going to do the same step. You're going to divide 81 first. So those cancel out, and you're left with 3x plus 1 squared equals 49 over 81. So keep going, just like this one. And over here, so this whole thing is within the square, so I can just start off by squaring it. So I have 4x minus 3 equals plus or minus, don't forget your plus or minus. Whenever you square root, the other side is plus or minus. Hey, that's a magic number, plus or minus 8. So now I'm going to add the 3. So I get 4x equals 3 plus or minus 8. And then I divide by 4. So I get x equals 3 plus or minus 8 divided by 4. All right. Let's see, solve the equation using square roots, round your solutions to the nearest hundredth. Okay. So we got minus 6. So we have x squared equals 2. Square root both sides, we have x equals plus or minus the square root 2. So I'm going to take my calculator and I'm going to go square root 2, 1 point, but to nearest hundredth, so 1.41. So x equals 1.41 and x equals negative 1.41. There's my two answers. All right, 2 more. Minus 25 x squared equals 44. So I get x equals plus or minus the square root of 44. So get in here and I go 44 square root. It's 6.63. So x equals 6.63 and x equals negative 6.63. All right, last one for you guys. Here we go. Minus 5 6x squared equals 15 divided by 6. So I get x squared equals 15/6. Square root both sides. I get x equals plus or minus the square root of 15/6. So what I'm going to do first is 15 divided by 6 is 2.5. And then I'm going to find the square root of that. Don't forget the square root. I'm trying to, because it's square rooted. Oh, did I not even show that one? Good heavens. It's making this video long when I don't show you guys the work. Minus 5 on both sides, so I get 6x squared equals 15. 5 by 6, x squared equals 15 over 6. Square root both sides, so x equals plus or minus the square root of 15/6. So then over here I do 15 divided by 6, get 2.5, but don't forget, we're finding the square root of it. So the square root is 1.58. X equals 1.58, and x equals negative 1.58. All right, there you go. Two numbers 1 through 24, and have fun. Ask me any questions.